Welcome to another episode of Amorex Connections, our podcast where we connect industry professionals. Today we're talking to Mr. Peter Dolan, the president of Dolan Fire Protection Supply, as well as Patrick Dolan, the director of sales and marketing. Gentlemen, welcome very much. Good to have you.
Great to be here.
First question for both of you, and that is give us a little rundown. How did you get involved in the fire protection industry?
I'll start with that one. So our start for Dolan's Fire Protection Supply is a wholesaler in the fire equipment business. It actually starts probably way back in, I'm going to say 1986. I was in high school and I had a landscaping business, and I was tasked with cutting the lawn of a gentleman by the name of Don Wall. Don had been in the fire protection business probably since the 50s or 60s, and that's the 1950s or 60s. I think he started with a company by the name of Approved Fire Protection in South Plainfield, New Jersey. And Don had a wholesale fire protection business called Wall Parts and Supply. I got to know Don, watched his business grow. He ran it out of his house to start. And I learned a little bit about this code enforced life safety business. Fast forward, I graduated from college in 1991. Don offered me a job. I politely declined. I wanted to put my finance degree to work, but stayed in touch with Don. And fast forward a number of years later, I ended up purchasing another reincarnation of that business, which was called Fire Accessories. That was about 2002. So it was quite a number of years later. But what attracted me to the business was what I used to call a recession-proof business that I now call recession-resistant. So for me, it was I was always passionate about running businesses. I ran a landscaping business in high school. Don was passionate about life safety, and I kind of melded or combined those two things, and just found that the business to be incredibly stable, and then at the same time rewarding. I got into it really just because it was a good business model, but I've learned to love the life safety aspect of it as well. It's become kind of it's a gratifying business to be in. So a little bit of a circuitous route there, but that's my story of how Dolan's Fire Protection Supply, started roughly, 24 years ago. So actually, yeah, it was 2002. Yep.
Yeah, for me, it was a little bit different. Obviously, the company was already established. At the time, I was coming out of working for a gig with the military, actually doing some marketing stuff for them. And Pete happened to go to a Giants game with my dad. We have season tickets, so they go to a lot of games together over the years. And they were talking about my future career. And I was at a spot where I was needing a job, and he needed somebody. And so I jumped in and started working for him. And basically, I remember on day one, he told me, you can make this job into whatever you want it to be. And I like to think that, I did a pretty good job up front learning some things, and it's become a lot more than what I ever thought it would have been. So here we are today, and, now we're putting the pedal to the metal.
Yeah, I mean, Pat, I think that was probably about 10 years ago?
Yeah, I think I started about 2016. So,
Well, it sounds like you guys have had a really fun-filled and adventurous journey so far. During that time, oh, by the way, go Giants. During that time, sorry, just had to throw that in. What are some of the things that have surprised you most about this industry?
When I got into the business, look, I took a step back from, I worked in New York City for an investment bank. It's kind of a high stress environment. I kind of stepped into this business where the relationships that I found with customers and that I saw customers have with each other was very different than prior businesses that I'd come from, specifically in the banking world. What kind of struck me going to trade shows was the camaraderie that competitors and even vendors and manufacturers had. Things have changed a little bit today with, there's I think less small mom and pops out there, but I'd go to different trade shows, whether it was New Jersey, Pennsylvania, other parts of the country. And there was true, like, deep and long-standing friendships that I could see that these customers had built over the years. So stepping into that was it was just different and incredibly, kind of like I don't say but comforting, but you'd walk into these meetings and you'd have no problem striking up a conversation and soon you were just one of the guys, and becoming fast friends with customers and even competitors.
To add to that, I think I kind of have the same experience he has, whereas, I started out going to some of these trade shows and stuff, not knowing a single person on the floor. And now I feel like every person knows each other out there, and everybody knows me to some capacity that I run into. Um, but for me, the thing that really, really surprised me the most was just how everywhere you step in this world, you see our products out there. I went from going to stadiums, going to see sporting events. First thing I'm thinking about is, oh, let me get a beer or a hot dog or whatever. Now the first thing I'm doing when I'm stepping in is looking at the tag on the wall to see who the company is that's servicing the building that we're in. And it's pretty interesting to me that you see everywhere, no matter what building you're in, there's an opportunity for some kind of business in this industry. It's something you never realize until you're actually in the industry. And as a lot of my family members say, they wouldn't know this business existed unless I was in it. So
Yeah, I've heard that a lot, and my family can certainly attest. There are certain things that you don't even notice are there until you become a little more aware of the fact that it's a product. But speaking of, what are some of the trends that you guys have seen let's say over the last maybe 4 or 5 years, things that are coming up in our industry?
I think the biggest trend, and I'm not going to be springing any news here, but is the consolidation. Like I talked about before, a lot of the mom and pop shops, and even the medium or larger size companies, they're becoming part of these bigger entities, that are just growing rapidly overnight. So for us, it's just adjusting. It's learning to serve some of the same people, selling the same products, but learning a different type of organizational structure and as far as ship tos, built tos, combining entities. And it's an exciting time. It's very neat to see some of these companies grow. Look, and some of the prior owners, sometimes they stick around, sometimes they don't. We're sorry to see the ones go who don't stick around. But otherwise the relationships remain, they remain. And the products are still the same. We're still selling the same things, just, to some different locations and some different, different corporate structures. That's all. But just like other times of consolidation, we at the same time see new companies starting up, weekly. Different companies that are, saying, hey, I can jump into this business. I don't think that's changed. I don't think it'll ever change. There's always, that entrepreneurial spirit. And, people are hungry to go out and hang their own shingle and work for themselves. So it's something we've seen before. And I think the cycle is just, it's just running through, just on a different scale than in the past. So I don't know, Pat, would you agree?
yeah, I definitely think we're seeing a lot of that. There's obviously, it's crazy right now, the consolidation going on. But I think on another side, that something that we're seeing a lot of too is kind of this digital shift where a lot of people are they're relying a lot more on technology now. And even so much for us, like just our communication with our customers and our salespeople, their experiences out there, they're finding that they're not inclined to really pick up the phone as much anymore and talk on the phone or meet face to face. There's a lot of business getting done through emails, and even on, like, I guess the system side, you're seeing a lot more electronic items coming out, rather than the old mechanical stuff. So I think this digital shift we're seeing is a lot of people they're looking to utilize their technology a lot more than they have in the past, and enhance their productivity, not getting caught up on a phone call or for instance, having to meet face to face with people all the time. It's just it's really making things more efficient for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, just to kind of put that in perspective, I think when I got in the business, there was still a lot of people, or some people using fax machines. Never mind email. Yeah, I don't think we have anybody who still faxes us orders in. I think that's certainly gone away. Um, but getting people to evolve, it just right now it's kind of rapid fire. Or Pat, you're right. There's some people who, yeah, there's a lot less phone calls. It's sometimes it's not even email anymore. It's on apps. It's through posts on LinkedIn or whatever your social media of choice is. So it's
Yeah,
it's
we're
it's
actually we're
definitely a
finding
shift.
yeah, we're finding a lot of customers are finding us through social media posts now. We're finding customers, they communicate with each other on these different pages through Facebook and whatever's out there. And that's how we're actually getting a lot of referrals for people using us now. So there's definitely an aspect of that, and it's kind of changed the way that we need to market, and just as the whole industry as a whole should be marketing.
Next question I have for you guys, and it's probably, I would imagine some of the answers might be the same, but what are some of the challenges that you guys face as company owners?
That's kind of goes hand in hand with what I just said. It's the technology has definitely been a challenge for us. I mean, we've been working on getting our technology infrastructure a little bit more enhanced to help out our customers. But another piece of it is just learning to use some of this technology that's out there. I mean, there's a big shift right now with like the AI stuff coming into play. It's about looking at stuff like that, figuring out how maybe we can use that. It's about learning and teaching our customers how they can use technology to enhance their jobs. Um, but another big thing that we're also facing, I feel like, is our staffing. This industry has a unique challenge where it's a knowledge based industry. So I feel like a lot of the people we hire, it's difficult to just put them into a position because there's a lot of conversations you have with customers out there that one person might call something a valve stem. There might be 10 other names for that valve stem. So it's kind of finding the right people, having them learn things the right way, and then them being able to have that dialogue with customers and understand what the customers are looking for. It's you can't just put anybody in a role these days. They need a little bit of extra training and a little bit of extra knowledge from their past to be able to work in this industry.
I think I'd agree with that, Pat. Look, just from a technological standpoint, I mean, us, ourselves, I think we're on our third website reiteration, due to technological challenges. Software is it's great when it works, but sometimes it doesn't, and it's getting it right. I mean, look, I know Amarex, you guys. Your website, we've been on it. You've got a couple different portals there. They're great tools to have, and we kind of see that as both a challenge, but also something that we can use to help grow. I think another challenge that we see, and this isn't technology wise, but we see a lot out there in our end of the business selling parts to fire equipment distributors. um, is we're very much intertwined with our vendors, specifically the manufacturers of fire protection equipment. Who make the Amerexes of the world, who are making the hand portable extinguishers, the pre-engineered systems, and we're a big proponent of selling OEM parts. But there's this, and I'm not going to say it's a new trend, but there's a lot of I'll call it reverse engineered or non OEM product out there. I think Amerex has kind of been out in the forefront of kind of sending blasts out there about how important it is to be using OEM product, whether it's a valve stem or a nozzle cap or a foil seal. So for us, that's a challenge to educate our customers, to get them to understand that, hey, just because something is inexpensive, or cheaper, it's not always the right product for the application. So educating the customers about the differences about what's out there, to us is a bit of a challenge, because it's great to get an inexpensive product, but we're in the life safety business, and using the right product, the right parts in the right system, it's key to what we all do. So for us, it's technological, but it's also product based. There's challenges every day in both of those kind of facets of what we do.
You both made a mention of education and the importance of it. And well, it's no secret, as our industry workforce is aging, eventually we're going to be replacing the older people with newer technicians. And when it comes to your individual company, what do you do to make sure that new people are prepared when they come on board with you or with any corporation?
Well, I think I can kind of speak from experience, as I was one of those new people 10 years ago coming on. I think the best thing that we've found for us to train our people is if they start in our warehouse and work their way up, it's a great starting point for our company. We like to hire a lot of people from within for promotions and things like that. And as those positions become available, we find these people in the warehouse, and they know what they're talking about because they've handled the parts, they've held them in their hands, they know what they look like, they know what the part number is. A lot of times they even know what they do by the time they're done working back there. So we find that a lot of the experience is hands-on for us, and just seeing is learning. A lot of times, this industry is really hard to understand exactly how things work without seeing it right in front of your face. I tell a lot of people that when I first started, the way I learned about kitchen systems, the easiest way was I'd walk into a Chipotle and I'd just look around and see how everything was set up in there. And I'd see the nozzles hanging down over the fryers or whatever they have going back there. And that was the biggest thing for me to understand how everything worked. It's just, you got to see it and handle it. And that's basically where we've found our most success with our employees coming up.
Look, we don't install systems and service hand portable extinguishers, so our knowledge base is really it's about differentiating parts and people in the warehouse and people in customer service, understanding the nuances of when they're asked a question about what part someone's referring to, but at the same time we do we like to expand on that as Pat described, the touch and the feel in the warehouse and seeing everything in front of them. We do try to get just about everybody who we can into some sort of training that a typical fire equipment distributor technician might be going through. Pat, you sat through pre-engineered training for a couple different manufacturers, Amorex included. So you're getting that technical knowledge. We've also, where we can, we have, whether it's warehouse, customer service, sales, we'll send people to third party, hand portable training. So even though we don't service those extinguishers, it's good for them to get out there and kind of sit through the same training that some of our customers are also sitting through. So that's on the technical side, but beyond that, as far as, basics of, management 101 or, supervisors, or hazmat type, training, we rely a lot on kind of some third party, providers out there. And again, with the technology, it's so easy to do this stuff now, whereas before you'd be driving an hour or two or getting on a plane. Now you can just sit at your computer at your desk or in your conference room. It's really made the training aspect, just so much easier to undertake and get people the training they need, because it's key to their advancement and our success.
And if I could ask you both to distill maybe the top 2 or 3 keys to the success of your business.
The main thing for us, I feel like our key to success as not being so much into a service side of it and more geared up to sales and customer service. It really comes down to the people who work for us. Our staff, we're really fortunate to have a really awesome group of people who work for us and put in 100% effort every day. There's days where, you walk back in the warehouse and our guys they're moving around. They have a lot of stuff on their hands, but they manage to figure it out and make it work. And, a big portion of that, I think, is we have like a very more like family dynamic. Obviously, I'm a Dolan, Pizza Dolan, but there's a lot more people that work for us that are related in some way. Whether it's we have a cousin in the warehouse, then one of my best friends, uh, growing up from childhood, he's working helping with customer service and a lot of other things. He manages a lot of our products, and then to further elaborate, we have even Pete's two kids, Liam and Seamus. They throughout whenever they're home from school, they're involved, and so I feel like our dynamic as a whole really is our number one key to our success. If we're all on the same page and we're communicating, then we're going to be having a lot of success across the board. And I'll give you an example of one time where we had to get the job done, and everybody stepped up to the plate. We moved our warehouse a couple years ago from Lakewood to Farmingdale, which is it's a 15-minute ride up the Parkway, and we took the move on ourselves. Well, a lot of companies would probably shut down during a move. We found a way to not shut down at all, and these guys, we had people putting in over 100 hours in 1 week just to get the job done and make sure we got it done by the deadline that we had. I remember there was a couple of nights where Pete and I were there at 3, 4 in the morning, but we weren't the only ones there. We had other guys there that they wanted to get the job done just as much as we did. And, it was really fortunate for us to have people like that working for us, that they care about the company like it's their own. And that's part of why we have the success we do.
I'd agree with that. I'd say hard work. You look any endeavor, any business you start, anything really, and anything in this world, in this life. Look, it's hard work. It's what gets you there. And you're right, Pat. We're lucky to have good employees. A couple other things I think is also our attitude towards our customers. For us, it's about treating the customer the right way. There's one thing that I tell everybody here is, and it's if you follow it, everything just kind of flows from there. Put yourself in the customer's shoes. If you're on the other end of that phone or the end of that email or that text, what do you need to get your job done? How do you want to be treated? What's your expectation about shipment, about being told things about your order? If you do that and you follow it, everything else flows from there. Then you're doing your job the right way. And between the hard work and that attitude, it's taken us pretty far. I think the other thing that contributes to our success, it's the relationships with not just our customers and what our employees do, but it's also our relationships with our manufacturers like Amerex. We look at our manufacturer relationships as partnerships. It's not like, well, we're just buying from so and so to sell to our customers. They're integral to what we do. Our ability to purchase OEM product from all the different manufacturers, without it, we're just we're anyone else could do that. We're just peddling something that's not based on that foundational relationship with the manufacturer. We treat those relationships as important as a customer relationship, and I think that's what's enabled us to succeed, having access to all those products because of the stress that we put on those relationships and how important they are to us.
What do you anticipate the next big thing for Dolan's to be?
So for me, I think the goal for me and my cousins who are coming on hopefully in the near future and going to pick up some slack for us, it's enhancing our customers' experiences. Right now, we're working on our website that we're pretty much to the goal line. We're making a final push on it, and we should be having that out soon for people to start using. It comes down to that. It's our move of warehouses a couple of years ago, allowing us to have some more space and carry more products now for our customers, and just having more family involved in the company. It's overall we're aiming towards a final goal of just making the customer experience as seamless as possible and painless. We want them to be able to treat us like we're an Amazon. It's as easy as it can be as possible. for them to be able to shop with us and buy whatever they need. And then it also comes with we need a little bit better technical support on our end too. We're working right now to get some people in other places and in different positions that are overall it's all to that one goal of just making everybody's life easier that's dealing with us.
I think, look, I see a future here of a lot more organic growth. You know, we've never been someone who's, you know, we try not to get out in front of our skis and you know, realize that, hey, you can't service the growth. You know, growth is good, but you have to be able to manage it. So, I mean, I see, you know, a steady organic growth based on, you know, our foundation of manufacturer relationships, and then our, you know, our top-notch customer service that will be, you know, enhanced by, you know, the digital experience that Pat's referring to, that, you know, I think will do nothing but, you know, help build, you know, a better base and a better customer experience.
Well, Peter, Patrick, I certainly do appreciate you taking time out of your day to join us and to also kind of share some information with the other listeners. Thank you very much for joining us, guys.
It's been a pleasure.